Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Krishna, developer advocate here at Eden AI. So let's talk about the new chat endpoint we have. So in this tutorial, we'll understand how we can implement this new endpoint in our own projects. And before that, we'll go through the generative playground we have on the platform just to test, play around with the models we have to see how this endpoint can be useful. And we also see the essential parameters we need in order to make an API call, right? And after that, I'll show you how we can implement this in our own project. Right? I made a small project using FastAPI. So I'll be explaining you, walking you through the code base as well. And finally, the good news is Eden AI's APIs are OpenAI compatible. So if you're using OpenAI's SDKs, I think it's a good news for you. You can use Eden AI API as well directly on your SDK. I'll be showing you that as well in this tutorial. So please bear with me. This is going to be a lengthy video, and but it's pretty informative, and you'll probably like this video as well. So just sit tight and relax and enjoy the video. Let's get started. Okay. So in order to use the new chat endpoint we have, head to the AI API section and then type chat so that you can see this LLM chat, right? And click on this. And then, yeah, you can see a beautiful canvas which mimics the chat GPT's interface. So let's understand what exactly we have here, right? So we have a documentation thing here, which explains clearly how the API works and what the parameters it has, and a bit of code snippet as well. And we can test it in the Postman, and we have a pricing section here as well. Before going to the pricing, we'll try to test this. Okay, so let's select a model. We have a lot here. Let's stick to the basic GPT-4o for now, standard. And let's type what's the purpose of life? Explain it in probably 2 words. Let's see that. Oh, seek understanding. Okay. Okay, so along with the response, you can see there is something called use this response option, which is checked by default, and also the billing per response as well. So what is this? If we uncheck this, this particular response won't be stayed in the history, right? So I mean, it doesn't understand if I ask what's the previous response. Okay? It says, I'm sorry, I don't have access because it's not there in the history. It's deleted. And you cannot re-enable it. So keep that in mind before trying it out. So let's try again, but this time let's just keep it by default. Okay. Let's start. What's the purpose of life? Explain it in 2 words. Okay. That create meaning. Okay, so I'm not unchecking this. So let's ask, what's the previous response? Create meaning. So that's how it works, right? So this will be very useful if you are you have a very intense chat going on, probably regarding coding or something related to research. So you may need the response, and sometimes the response may not be that important, right? So you can remove it when it is required. So let's see the pricing. I mean, for the old users, you may understand that this page has been changed a bit. The UI has been modified, which is pretty refreshing right now. For the new users, I think it's pretty straightforward, nothing to worry about. So most of these are the providers, and if you expand them, you can see the models. So for example, in the OpenAI, we have used GPT-4o. So the input cost per token is pretty less, and the output cost is also pretty less. So you can see all the costs that are associated with the call. So keep that in mind before deploying it into the production. Okay. So and there's a very important thing we need to discuss about. There's something called export to code option. If you click here, you can see the code snippets in Python and JavaScript are available, which you can use this in your own environment, probably in your own project or product, which I'll be explaining you. I have created a small project using FastAPI. I'll be using the same code snippet in my code base. I'll explain you shortly. But before that, we'll go through the documentation and understand what the parameters we have to make an API call as well. Okay, so this is the docs page for the chat API, chat endpoint. Let's understand the body params. So there are a lot actually, but let's go through all of them. I'll try to give the brief of all of the parameters we have here. And we can see the available providers. I mean, there are a lot, you don't have to worry about, including XAI, Google, OpenAI. Yeah, we have a lot. And the default models. So if you're not specifying any models, then of course they choose the default ones, right? So OpenAI has GPT-4o, Meta, Llama 3.1, 70 billion, Anthropic 3.7 Sonnet. Yeah, okay. So let's understand the params now. So messages params is basically it's a list, So it's a list of all the conversations basically, right? So it has the type text, the image URL, etc., etc. It's pretty much mimics the same OpenAI's SDK, if you remember, if you have used in your projects before. So it's kind of mimicking the same. That's basically messages, which is very crucial, right? The model is basically it's self-explanatory. Let's say if OpenAI is the provider, then model could be GPT 3.5 or 4 or Turbo or something, right? Reasoning effort, low, medium, and high. Based on how complex your problem is, you have to choose your reasoning effort. And there are some metadata if you want, you can provide something like the conversation ID or source. And there's something called frequency penalty. This is kind of a seed. I cannot say seed because it's basically more like controlling the repetitiveness, which mentioned here. So sometimes you can see the same thing repeating again and again. So it can be controlled by changing the frequency penalty. So you can provide negative values till -2. So for example here 1.5 to significantly reduce repetitive phrase, right? So as you increase the number, the repetitiveness decreases, right? So that's how it is. Logic bias, it's basically logic bias. Okay. So it modifies the likelihood of the specific tokens. So it's kind of a dictionary where, so let's say -100, it basically reduces the probability of the end of the text token, right? And 15 is 5. Basically, these are the token numbers, and the values are basically the the chances of increasing or decreasing the probability, right? So it's very research oriented. If you want to specify, if you want to make it very structured, you can use this. And then log probs, its default is set to false, but if you set it to true, then it returns the probabilities of the most likely tokens, which you can expect, right? And top log probs is basically it returns the top 0 to 20 probabilities for each token. And max completion tokens, like how many maximum number of tokens you can generate in a completion. You have n, which is basically the number of chat completion choices to generate. So the default is 1, right? So you can provide 3 for multiple alternative responses, right? So you can add it. And I think for every number, I think the calls are also increases, so keep that in mind. Modalities, apart from text, we can also use image or also audio. So there are 3 modalities we have. And then there's something called prediction. It's kind of it's an optional field, to store the prediction related information, like the confidence score, how confident it is, right? And also the top prediction based on the category you provide, right? And there's something called audio. It's also an audio related param. So you can provide the language and also the transcription format. Standard format is SRT, I guess. So you can provide that. And then there's something called presence penalty, right? So it's basically adjusts the probability of discussing new topics, right? So it's like it's making it more diverse. That's the goal of this param. So you can keep it from again -2 to 2. So if you increase the number, the diversity increases. That's it. Response format is your desired format. Like how exactly do you want your format to be, the output format to be. You can explicitly mention it in this particular param and it'll get the same. Seed, this is what I was talking about. Seed is basically to make the output more consistent, you use seed, right? So 42 for a reproducible random generation process. So you can just keep it a random integer number, and the seed will work, make it more consistent, making it get the same, almost the same output again and again, right? Okay, so we have stop, we have the service tier. It's basically has auto and default. So and for now we have only auto and default, so we can just keep it default. Stop. So when you want to stop the model, right? This is very important, I guess, because sometimes the model exceeds even after we get the desired output. It keeps on going, keeps on generating. So it's better if we keep some explicit stop words saying, okay, if you reach this, stop it, something like that. So we can provide this. And then stream. So if you want to see the output, streaming output, like one token after another, like just like the ChatGPT's response, right? You see the real-time generation of tokens. You can provide stream to true. The default is false. Okay, so the temperature is most, I think it's very important. So in order to be more creative, in order to be focused or stick to the topic kind of, so you need to kind of balance out the number. So when you reduce the temperature to 0, you can expect less creative but more focused responses. But if it is 2, you can think of it like a more creative and some sort of unpredictable responses, which may lead to hallucinations as well sometimes. So if you're more into research based questions, probably you can keep it between 1.2 to 1.8, something like that. I mean, just as per my understanding. Top P is basically it's kind of the top predictions. You can consider that. It's basically top predictions. So 0.9 to select from top 90% of most probable tokens. You'll get like a huge number of tokens, and so top P, if you give 0.9, so it takes only the top 90%, ignoring the rest 10, right? So I mean, this is kind of advanced param which you may not need for most of the use cases, but depends on the project. Okay. And these are the tools that you can use. So if you have a function, you have a method ready, probably you can provide the method and then description, and then you can add it in the tools and the tool choice, and then parallel tool calls, and these are like self-explanatory. And then user, basically, it's mostly for understanding the API usage. So you can provide the user ID or the name to track. So that's there. And then we have a function call. So the function calls something like this. So we have a function here and we provide the name of the function and then the description and the params of the function. So multiple methods can be invoked inside one API call, right? One Eden AI's API call. So those methods can be mentioned here using the functions, and then you can see how it is being handled using the function call param. So yeah, and provider, feature, subfeature, phase, all of these are like self-explanatory. And these are the params that we have for an API call. So there are a lot, and most of them may not be used for the minimal project usage, but depends on the project again. So it's good we have a lot, so we can play around, understand what exactly we are. Right. So on the right side, you can see a small code snippets we have here. So we can use them again into our own project, or we can try and see how the responses are here, right? So this is the docs. This is what I wanted to explain. So now let's understand how this works, right? So I built a small FastAPI project to understand how the API call works using the v2/LLM/chat endpoint. So let's go ahead and test it. Okay, so this is the small FastAPI project that I've made just to explain you guys how the LLM/chat endpoint works. It's pretty self-explanatory again. There's nothing innovative. Everything I took from the Eden AI's platform. So I imported all the modules or the libraries that are required, and then added the cores, added the Eden AI's API key as well, which is really important, and then created some models, base models. And then comes the endpoints, right? One is a text endpoint. If you remember, it's a multimodal endpoint, right? I mean, multimodal model. So it can also handle audio and also images. So for now, I created a text endpoint, and this is the same you might have seen from the code snippet from the platform. It's the same. I haven't modified anything. It's the same. And then there's something called API/image. This is especially to handle images, right? So here, if you see user, and the content is type text, and the text is basically the request or text, which is basically the user's input. And here it's the same. It's basically the prompt along with the image URL, right? So this is what I have modified. You can check it from the docs again if you are confused. So it's pretty much the same thing, right? And I ran this in local, so it's running locally. And let's test it on the Postman. So okay, so the base URL is basically the localhost 8000 /API/text, and I gave text was the meaning of life in 2 words, and the model I chose is GPT-4o, and then these are the results that finish. Yeah, so the content is existential exploration. That's what we received. Okay, let's understand the image endpoint as well. So I gave the image URL. I just copied the from, I mean, it's some sort of I think Ed Sheeran's picture. I just copied the image link, and then I decided what you see in the image, and I used OpenAI GPT-4o. It worked, but it said, I'm sorry, I can't identify or recognize people in the images. So at least it understood what the image is. So that's how you can do it. And okay, so good thing OpenAI SDK now supports Eden AI's API as well. So I'm going to show you how we can implement that as well. Let's say if few of your projects are using OpenAI's SDK directly, so you don't have to migrate, or you don't have to start something from scratch. You can use the same Eden AI, models here directly using the OpenAI SDK. So I created an adapter py file where I used OpenAI SDK here, and use chat completion method. I mean, this is especially regarding chat completion. So the base URL, you can use the Eden AI API, and then and then you can provide the Eden AI API key. That's it. That's what you need to get started. And you can use the models that are available on the Eden AI's page, which, I mean, that supports the chat endpoint. So this is the class that is used for use to create the chat functionality. I mean, it's a bit hectic to understand. Everything is there in the cookbook. You can just go ahead and have a look into it. I created comments as well to just for you guys to understand. So you can use this helper function or helper file and use it in your own project as well, right? I mean, this is especially, I made it a bit complex for this particular project, but all you need is basically the base URL and the key and the model that you're going to use. And so everything is like this particular class is what you need to just get started. So all of the other endpoints are based on the project that I wanted to demo. So just keep that in mind. And this is the FastAPI project that I made using the adapter function that I wrote before. So I basically imported Eden AI from the adapter and pretty much the same. I created a chat completions endpoint, and that's it. It's pretty much it. And if we test this on our local host, which it is running right now, and this is the body structure it's expecting. It's pretty much the same of the OpenAI, if you see. So this is what you get. For what's the meaning of life in 2 words, you're gonna get the seek understanding, same thing. And I also added image URL just to see how it works for the multimodality, right? So I just gave an OpenAI logo from the Google, just copy it, and this is what you get. The image displays OpenAI logo, features geometric design, etc., etc. So that's pretty much it. I mean, so once again, if you're using OpenAI SDK directly, so you don't need to worry about re-implementing using Eden AI. You can just directly use it. So that's pretty much it. So that's the tutorial, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you have learned something out of it. If you do, please like this video. If you have any concerns or any comments regarding the video, please feel free to use the comment section. Drop a comment there. And we have an active Discord community. Feel free to join that as well. And there's a help section where you can raise your queries as well. So I'll be reaching out to you. And if you really like these tutorials, these lessons, don't forget to subscribe this. So every week we'll be releasing new videos. And the code that I show you in these tutorials, you can find them on the GitHub. There's a cookbook we have especially tailored for you guys. So you can go through the cookbook and you can use it in your projects as well. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for your time and patience. And we'll see you again.